Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. I'm Julie Lynch. I'm the Volunteer Operations Manager here at Families in Transition. We're so excited that you joined us this afternoon to celebrate you, our wonderful volunteers. Just a couple of housekeeping things before we get started with our program. We wanted to remind you, as you're coming in, you should have gotten a notification that we are recording this meeting so that we can share it with other volunteers who aren't able to be live with us this morning. If you have any questions as we go along, feel free to drop those into the chat. We will be monitoring that as we go. If we do, for some reason, lose internet connection or get disconnected, I will reach out to you via email with any follow-ups to this meeting. So that's all we have for housekeeping. Now on to the more fun stuff. Mary Silva is joining me. She's my volunteer manager counterpart, and Emily Graves, the volunteer coordinator for Outfitters. As we were planning for National Volunteer Week, we were brainstorming some really incredible ways that volunteers have made an impact across the agency. One of the things that I was just telling them about was how we have a CPR trainer who comes in to help train our staff throughout the year, which makes a huge impact, as you can imagine, especially on our frontline workers. So we'd like to share some more of those stories with you this morning and hope that enjoy. Did you have any other stories to share?
I do, actually. We have a new volunteer opportunity that just started maybe 6 months ago or so. And it's somebody that's coming in and doing haircuts in our recovery and in our family shelter program. So that's been really a great thing for people that are trying to plan on going out for job interviews, or if for cutting the hair for your whole family. That saves a bunch of money for those families, and it just feels good and it looks good. I think that's a really unique volunteer thing that we've started doing, and it's been really great. We've had a good response from doing it.
What's going on with Outfitters?
Well, can I just comment about haircuts? Because they're so, especially for women, they're so expensive. So kudos to that volunteer. So at Outfitters, one thing I wanted to recognize is that we have a good group of Outfitters volunteers who have been with us for a long time. 3 and 4 and 5 years. We even have one volunteer who's been volunteering with us for 10 years. So I don't want to really call that person out, but I do want to thank all of the volunteers who come back time and again, year after year, to help us because we couldn't do it without them.
Yeah. We see that in the pantry too. I think we have volunteers that have been 15, 20 years over there. We also have, even in the last couple of years, really some new volunteers that have come in and really made it, just like you're saying, that tight-knit group. We even have people that are coming in to help us put together stuff that our programs need, putting together home essential baskets, in addition to the incredible work doing the sorting and the donations and all that stuff that comes in through the pantry. There's a few different kind of opportunities at the pantry that really just makes for such a cool, cohesive group over there.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing some of that that's going into some activity programs that we're working with at the family shelter. So we've had groups coming in maybe 2 or 3 nights a month, and they create a poster and they bring the supplies, and they're working with the kids. They're making slime and doing paintings, and they're reading books with them, and then hopefully the activity kind of follows right in with the book, whatever is in the book. So it's really great, and I know that they've had a lot of really great feedback from the kids who are really excited to have these things to look forward to. So I love that. And we're going to try and expand on that a little bit for the summer, and maybe get some outdoor summer activities for the kids going out in that back little play yard there.
I think
that's exciting.
Yeah, I heard Stephanie talking about, she sent over a picture of taking some of those paintings and putting them on the walls to really decorate so it feels more like home there too. So I think, that just makes such a big difference.
Right. Proud of their work.
Yeah.
So one of the volunteers that we work with brings in treats on Tuesdays. So she calls it Tuesday treats. And usually they're muffins or quick breads, sometimes they're cookies. And that's a huge hit with both other volunteers and with staff. And that's something she does. No one asked her to. She kind of just decided she would do it. And just about every week she brings them in. So that's we always look forward to Tuesdays.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like a memo or something, but I've heard that's happening at the pantry too. They have somebody, same thing on Tuesday, she brings something in every week, and even same thing will go over sometimes on Tuesdays, and we're like, ooh, it's a Tuesday. There's muffins or that sort of thing. So it's just, I know, when people think about volunteering, I think there's so much more to it than just like the coming in and the direct service and the impact. It's a social thing. It's a way for people to feel involved and feel like a part of something. And I think that's really important for the work that we're doing here. I mean, it flows over to all of our programs we have. I know similarly over at the Willows, they have, a volunteer over there that's been volunteering for over 3 years, and she definitely feels just like part of the staff. And even went over this week to recognize her, and some of the participants actually said to me, oh, we love this volunteer, we love her. And I was like, well, we love her too. And so it was just great to hear that both from the staff, what a big impact she makes, and then also from our clients that, are happy to see a consistent face every week when they come in to do some really hard work in their lives. So.
And we have some other volunteers that are doing work kind of offsite, not directly. So we have some groups that make activity bags for our adult shelter that have maybe colored pencils, crossword puzzles, or coloring pages or books or whatever, things like that in there for the adults to use while they're sitting. And then we also have them doing children's activity bags. And those are really great for the case managers, or if the families are going into a meeting, the adults can give that to the children to kind of keep them busy with crayons and things like that, so that they can have a little bit of a meeting while they're around. We also have somebody who just brought in a high school student, just had 60 cards of encouragement that he brought us to give out to our participants. Really nice little things. They're all different.
Some are handmade, right?
Yeah, they're really great. So we'll be sending those over to the shelter, and they can give them out as they see fit. But I mean, it's just another way that you can support our participants and our staff from a distance too.
I think I may have talked about this before at one of the other volunteer events, but currently we have, at Outfitters, we have 3 staff members who started out as volunteers and then applied for positions and got hired.
Aren't you one of them?
I am one of them. So I'm really thankful.
I think all of us actually.
So I just want to recognize folks who come and work with us as a volunteer and then decide that they would like to put down some roots, and that's I think also a good life lesson. Volunteer for in areas where you're passionate, and then that might open some doors.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think too, we find that happening with our interns. People don't often think about our interns as volunteers, but they truly are in a really big sense. They're really dedicating so many hours to us, and us working in with them too. We find that happening with our interns too, that they sometimes become staff. We have right now over at the New Hampshire Coalition and Homelessness, we actually have some people helping us with graphic design work, which is really cool. Someone just reached out, and again, it's their passion, it's what they're interested in. And we really took that and we found a spot where they could really make an impact through our agency. And so I think that's a really neat way that we could do things too, is, we have our regular kind of volunteer roles, but we also have lots of ways that people can talk to us about like their talents and their passions, and we can find a place where they can use those to really lift up our staff and our participants.
then there's a lot of group opportunities as well. So we have a lot of building maintenance type things, maybe painting or landscaping. We have a couple of large groups scheduled to come in. We have Earth Day on Friday. If anybody's interested in jumping on a couple of those shifts, that would be great. But we need these people to help us keep the places looking great and, you know, in shape, because we are, you know, kind of minimally staffed in the facilities team right now. And it's really hard for them to get everything done that we want done. And we do want to keep everything up to, you know, to be the best it can be. We also have this group, which is kind of unique. They're almost like handymen. So, we can, if we need something done, we can reach out to them and they'll schedule it and they'll come and do things that, you know, like hang pictures on the walls or put things together for us. Things that the facilities team really don't have the time to do. So
they
it's
just put
really
together
great.
a foosball table.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was awesome.
should have had it here.
Yeah.
We have room for it,
Yeah.
so. But things like that, you know, we have a lot of people that are reaching out to us with those sorts of things. So we'll be getting the buildings all spruced up soon and, you know, it'll look nice and everyone should be happy with that.
Volunteer groups have started to make appointments with us at Outfitters as well. And it's always usually a really fun atmosphere. Sometimes there are groups of employees who, you know, get to take the afternoon off work, so that's
always
fun.
Yeah.
And I would say generally day to day, the volunteers who are here do create a fun atmosphere. They interact with our staff, they get to know them, they create inside jokes with them. So I think one of you mentioned it before, there is a community or a sense of, you know, working alongside each other that develops. That's really one of the special parts. If that didn't happen, the volunteer probably wouldn't come back.
Right.
But
Yeah.
for a lot of volunteers, that sense of camaraderie is there, and it develops, and they run with it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's great.
So Emily, Julie, Mary, I know that if we all just sit here, you all will continue with the stories. And I know that the stories you all have been sharing so far are a lot of the things that make our community and Families in Transition who and what we are. But I'm gonna move us, because I want to give other opportunities for a lot of other people who are with us today to share some more stories about why volunteerism is so important and so valuable, not just in general, but even right here at Families in Transition. But first, I just want to introduce myself real quickly. My name is Jeffrey Zwollenberg. I'm the Chief Development Officer and am still relatively new with the agency, but wanted to certainly make sure to spend some time to offer my thanks and appreciation. People can give in a lot of different ways. They can give money, they can give their energy, and when it comes to our volunteers, they can give of their time and of their heart and of themselves to help lift up everyone. Whether that be our community right here in Manchester or even beyond. And so I just want to begin by just offering my thanks and appreciation to everyone who helps make this work possible. And I know that when I think about volunteerism, it really does comes down to giving. And what people are able to give. And a place where I know I hear a lot of these stories is from our CEO, Maria. And so Maria, I want to hand it over to you to keep us going.
Thanks, Jeffrey, and welcome to everyone who's here. I can't wait to see many of you in person, hopefully later on this year. But we're really excited to recognize all of our volunteers through this recording and reach as many of you who are doing important work with us through this method. As you know, our volunteers come in all different shapes and sizes. So we have large groups from corporations who come out and do work with us, everything from helping to beautify our properties to helping us just maintain our properties and keep them the respectable places that we want them to be. We've had, and it was mentioned earlier, but we've had numerous volunteers who help bake goods and either provide those baked goods to our families at the family shelter or our staff. This year, we even had board members who bake cookies for our staff as well as participants. And we've had board members who have volunteered not only in their regular board member job, but also volunteering at our adult shelter when we needed folks to help us just get through kind of a rough time. And all of our volunteers, every single hour they give is a tremendous gift to us. And so even when somebody spends 2 hours a month, that adds up very quickly to over 24 hours of somebody's energy and time and their personal gift of what they give of themselves and their skills. And all of that is actually a dollar value to us. And so I'd like to make sure that we talk about the dollar value of volunteers. Often think of yourselves as just giving your time, and you consider that to be a free commodity, and we appreciate that, but that time actually has a tremendous value. So every hour that you spend with us is an hour that we're able to maybe match for one of our grants or for a foundation request, which is critically important. So I also just want to talk a little bit more about that value. And the one, I see somebody's hand up, and I'm going to turn it over to Faith Kreft, who is our director of our food services. Faith has some great examples of how the value of the volunteer makes a difference.
Hi, everyone. If you choose to volunteer, whether in our pantry or adult shelter in the kitchen, we could take you for a 2-hour shift to have you serve a meal within our adult shelter. You could bake cookies in the family shelter with some children there, or you could help stock some shelves in the pantry. No volunteer is too many. We always are in need of them in all of our different programs at FIT. We really have such a strong community of those volunteers. Like Emily said, at our pantry, we have volunteers that have turned to staff members. We have volunteers that have been serving with us for over 20 years. We have volunteers that come in daily or even just once a year. So there's no amount of time that's too much or too little. Like Jeffrey said, you can give your time, you can give money, you can give whatever works for you, but any way you want to volunteer works for us. And with our dining services, we really are in need of it because we have such a small staff that does such great work, but the volunteers are the people that we rely on to continue that work. And I know also at Outfitters, they really have seen an incredible impact of volunteers. And I'm sure that Kim Rennell would love to share that with you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kim Rennell. I'm the retail manager here at Outfitters. I would like to thank all of the volunteers with their dedication to the mission. Outfitters has been able to produce an additional 2,000 units to our sales floor each week. Not only does that capture additional revenue to support our programs, it also allows us to support our participants and community members that are in need of essential clothing, footwear, linens, household items at no cost to them. This last year, Outfitters had given out almost $16,000 in merchandise. So thank you for all you do.
Have to unmute myself. Thank you, Kim, for all of that. What's really important for all of you to know is collectively last year, volunteers gave over 20,000 hours of their time. So thank you for all of that. That time actually is valued at over $500,000 for this organization to continue the work that it does. And we actually saw over 645 different volunteers work with us throughout last year. I think that's really important because there's many of you who come here on a regular basis, and sometimes you'll meet a new person who pops in for maybe just 2 hours and another person who pops in next month for another 2 hours. And as we've all been stating here is we love the volunteers who come in here on a regular basis, but we also want to provide opportunities for volunteers who may come from a one time and then maybe come later on and continue to grow with the organization. In fact, we've seen that quite a bit where we've we've had volunteers who come with their parent and then volunteer with us as an adult. So volunteerism is really the gift that can keep on giving. And we want to make sure that we continue to highlight some of our volunteers. So I'm going to turn it over to Sarah Bernier, our director of our substance use services at the Willows, who also will talk a little bit about what her team has accomplished.
Hi, Maria. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I always love the opportunity to talk about our volunteers. As Julia has said in the beginning, I've been super blessed over at the Willows with our volunteers, having one in particular who's been with us for 3 years, and just the importance of that. Something I do want to highlight and take a moment is during the COVID epidemic, we still had volunteers who were so eager to come and help us. And I think that just speaks to just the power of what a volunteer can really bring to this organization, even when we're in a global epidemic, still trying to find ways that they can help our mission. And so we definitely still had our volunteers coming in at certain points with safety precautions, but that was just a powerful moment for me on just how much dedication our volunteers really bring to this organization. Over at Willows, I always like to highlight, they're helping our direct support our participants, but they're also helping our staff. Our staff, are usually go, 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 and, maybe not have a breath in between some appointments and helping our participants. And so our volunteers really step up and fill those gaps for us. I actually sat down to try and make a list of all the tasks that our volunteers really cover, from providing childcare, administrative tasks, checking in participants, greeting participants, managing appointments, sanitizing and keeping our facility clean. The list just goes on and on and on. And again, we've been blessed with some volunteers who are just looking to help out in any way they possibly can. So thank you very much to my Willow volunteers, but also to all the volunteers in the agency. Your impact is definitely noted and appreciated as well. I always like to tell the story, especially at Willows. People are coming in for treatment, maybe their first time, looking for help with their substance use disorders. And it was really important for us to have somebody at the front desk at all times, just to be that welcoming face. And so we have a welcome ambassador who has been here for many years, who has made connections with our direct participants, just to make that human connection with them and say, yeah, this is a really tough time, but we're here to help you, and how can I assist you? So that has been really impactful, especially in our substance use treatment services and programming, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So hopefully she continues to stay on with us. And back to you, Maria. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah, for your highlights. One of the ways we want to make sure that volunteers get kind of firsthand information about what's happening at the organization is to just provide an update as to what's been going on. What have we been focusing on as we get into spring of this year, which I'm really excited about, actually. So 2021, as Sarah mentioned, coming out of a pandemic, which we are still, very cautious about. Entering in 2022 in hopefully a much more positive way, getting out of the pandemic and just really thinking about where's the organization going forward. I think it's really important for all of you to know that I take very seriously the impact that all the people who either work or volunteer at this organization very seriously. And we want to make sure we are providing the best place for people to work and for people to volunteer. That's going to continue to be a theme of ours, we think, for many, many years to come. We want people to be engaged with the work that we do. We want our staff to be engaged. We want our volunteers to be engaged. And we want everyone to feel like this is a place that they feel they are welcome and that they have a voice. And that also leads right into our diversity, equity, and inclusion work. Families in Transition last year did a lot of work around where are we as an organization, like many nonprofits and corporations are doing. And we know that we need to be better. We need to be better for our community. We need to be better for our participants. And we need to think more collectively about the community here in New Hampshire and the people that we serve. And being very thoughtful about where we are in regards to our diversity and our equity and inclusion is part of that work. We have just started this journey. It's going to take us some time to get to where we want to be, but we know we need to have improvements. And we look forward to engaging all of you with what that looks like from a volunteer base as well as from a staffing base. You know, one of the famous sayings from one of my friends, Tom Raffio, the president and CEO of Northeast Delta Dental, he often says, no money, no mission. And that's the same here. We are an organization, we're about a $14 million organization, and that money doesn't come without a lot of time and effort. And in order to grow our services, in order to compensate our staff for the work that they're doing, in order to make sure that our buildings are kept the way we want them to be kept, and all the work that we're talking about here, we need money to do that. So obviously money is definitely a priority. That will continue to be something we're focused on this year. And last but not least, all of you know this organization as a housing organization for the purpose of preventing and breaking the cycle of homelessness. And with that, we have quite a few projects going on. We actually have our new Union Street apartment building is going to be opened up in early June, which will be able to house 11 individuals who are hopefully moving on from homelessness, and we're very excited about that project. It's one of the first housing projects we've done in a couple of years. We've done some other big projects like Face Pantry and those types of things, but this is our first kind of building project that's happened since I've been here as apartments. We're also taking a look at some land that we have and potentially building in the future, as well as looking at what are we doing at both of our family shelter on Lake Ave and our adult shelter at 199 Manchester Street. Both of those projects are long-term projects. We need to think about where we want to be in the future, but we're looking to figuring out how to expand our services in both of those locations. We talked about how volunteers are engaged in both of those programs as well, and we just want to make sure that we're providing the best space for our volunteers to feel successful in those locations. And so Julie, I'd love to hear more. That was a bit about the organization and where we're going. I'd love to hear a little bit more from you and your team as to where we're going with our volunteer efforts in the future.
Great, thanks so much, Maria. Yeah, to go in line with what all the exciting things that we have planned as an agency, we have some really exciting things going on this year for our volunteer services. The thing that I'm most excited about is we are launching a new volunteer platform later this year. This will make it easier for our volunteers to navigate opportunities, see what their impact is, connect with other volunteers, managing for our staff, managing who's coming in and when, making sure we know who to expect for different shifts. So we're really, really excited about that. It will be a pretty seamless transition for all of you, which is very important to us. And we are just super excited about it. So look for that coming, later this year, probably summer or fall. We're working on implementing it right now. So we're really excited about that. Something else that we have been kind of listening to you all about is getting some more volunteer gear. So we did rebrand last year, and as such, we want to be able to recognize our volunteers that have really dedicated time and energy to us. So we will be rolling out some new opportunities for volunteer gear as people have completed a certain amount of hours. One of the big things with that too is getting professional name tags for our volunteers. So, once you've completed a certain amount of hours with us, we really want to make sure that you have kind of similar name tags to our staff so that when you're coming in and getting to work, if someone walks in the door, they realize that you are a part of our team, as you are. And so that has been another aspect that we've been really moving towards and we'll be putting into play later this year as well. So some really good things coming that we're excited about, recognizing our volunteers across the agency for the incredible impact that they're having and the dedication and loyalty to our programs and our mission. We're also moving forward with some more leadership opportunities within the volunteer. In some of our areas, you may have seen that already with the volunteer ambassadors at Outfitters. We have some that are volunteer leaders at the pantry, and just looking to get more people that are looking to kind of be ambassadors for us out in the community as well. We're also hoping to see you a little bit more this year too. So we're hoping that, COVID makes that possible or makes it not limited. And Mary's going to talk a little bit more about what we're hoping to do.
Yeah, thanks, Julie. We have actually 10 pair of tickets for Fisher Cats. They're flexible dates, so you can take the tickets and go whenever you want. We're going to post those up where you sign up for shifts. You'll see it there. It'll probably not go live till next week, though. I want to make sure I have the tickets in my hand before we do that. Hopefully I'll have them this afternoon. So, but they are coming and they will be there. So if you're somebody who wants to go to a game, if you want to, you can even let us know and I can reach out to Fisher Cats and they'll let you throw out the first pitch if that's something you're interested in or somebody in your family is interested in. Because it is a really cool thing. So anyway, that's coming and you should see that live next week. You should be able to sign up if you're interested in that. In the fall, we're going to do another big volunteer event, our volunteer impact. We'll
Impact party.
Party, yes, it's a party,
VIPs.
yes, our VIPs. So we're not exactly sure what that's going to look like. Last year we did it at the Courier Museum and it was, it was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. I love that venue. Not positive if that's where it's going to be, but it will be someplace local and it'll probably be about the end of September, just like last year. So you'll get an email from us when that's going to be happening and we hope that you'll join us. We really can't do enough to thank you all and hope that, we do get to see your faces again sometime this year.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Great. Yes, hopefully we have some more fun things to look forward to this year. And for sure, as our volunteers, you bring so much hope to our agency, to our staff, to our participants throughout the year. We're so grateful for that. We're grateful to have National Volunteer Week as a stopping point for us to take a pause and really look at the impact that you all make. You truly lift up the work that we're doing. You make so many of our programs even possible to run that we couldn't do this work without you truly. Thank you personally. I mean, it's such an incredible job to have to come to work every day and just hear so many positive stories about the impacts our volunteers are making, the phone calls, the emails that we're managing each and every day of people reaching out to say, how can I help? This is how I want to help. And especially, in the world right now when things are really hard, I'm really grateful to have, the light that is our volunteer team to really guide the work that we're doing. So thank you so much. We're looking forward to seeing you, as Mary said, hopefully over the summer, hopefully in volunteering, obviously. And also we have the walk on May 15th and we made a volunteer team. So please join us on that and see if we can, do really well doing that. So please go ahead and keep doing the incredible work you're doing. Thank you so much for all that you have done and you continue to do. And hopefully we'll see you again soon. Thank you again and have a great afternoon.
Bye.